Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to a new video series working on this guy right there. That is Chip Foose's 1968 Pontiac Firebird. I'm going to turn down my music a little bit here. Yeah, Chip Foose's 1968 Firebird, so I'll roll that intro and we'll get going, shall we? Really? Yes. So, we're starting a new series, working on this guy, okay? As you can see, I've already opened the box, a whole bunch of stuff. I'll go through all the sprues, show you guys what's in here, and what the plans are for this particular build, okay? As I said, obviously I've opened the box. We've got our clear sprue with our windshield, rear window, headlights, typical stuff. I also pulled the decal sheet out, so we've got our decals here. We get to build this thing two different ways. We can either do a race version or we can do the Foose version, right? I'm going to be doing kind of a combination. I'm not going to stick to either one or the other. So yeah, so we got tires that come in a little bag. Okay, I'm going to move my engine out of the way here. You know, you guys might be wondering, why do I have an engine and it's not white? You'll find out. So we've got two versions of the hood. We've got the race version and we've got the Foose version. Okay, the Foose version really is just a ram air hood on that was an option back then in '68. Interior door panels right there and there, two of those. This sprue, we've got our rear axle and suspension. We've got our fan belts, the fan, air cleaner, at least the bottom half of it. Radiator fan shroud for the radiator. We've got a roll bar, again for the race version, roll bar. Okay. This one looks like front suspension, exhaust pipes, rear differential, cylinder heads for the engine, some rad hoses. Looks like, I'm not sure what that is. Could be a smog pump. I don't think so though. We've got the front water pump for the engine. We got our battery and rear shocks. Next, here's mostly engine stuff. Exhaust mufflers, our intake funnels. For the race version, we've got our exhaust manifolds, more exhaust, intake manifold, the engine block, front suspension. Looks like our, not the firewall, but our front wall of the car, the engine bay. Next, seats. Including one racing bucket seat. We've got the rear pan of the car, steering wheel. Looks like a center console for the interior. And this, I believe, is the intake for one of the hood versions, or one of the versions of the hood. I don't know which one though. Could be the race one. And we have our bottom chassis, one big honking piece. That's very typical. It looks like our sprue has actually broken here. But yeah, there we go. There's that one. I'm not sure what significance this stamp is in here. Shenzhen, is that where this thing was assembled or built? It's got some stamping. Copyright 2001. Yeah, made in China. That's why. That's why. Let's see. We have our interior bucket, a rear seat, dashboard, and there's our firewall. Okay, we have a separate sprue just for our wheels. Obviously this is unique to the Foose version because these are pretty big rims, right? We've got little pins in a bag. These are for the wheels also. Our two little clear red lensed tail lights. Okay, and we've got two chrome sprues. One obviously is the wheels. Those are going to go together eventually. And then our chrome stuff, valve covers, alternator, bumper, front, and another different intake manifold, and a blower. We got a blower option on this car? Wow, okay. That's pretty cool. And of course our oil pan. Alright, so let's put some sprues back in the box that we're not going to need for a while. I'm going to need the chrome pretty quick. basically what the plan is, everything in this kit's going to be spray painted with Mr. Surfacer 1500 black. Okay, that's going to be our primer, 1500 black. Okay, so basically in part 2 of this video series, everything's going to be black and you're not going to be able to see any of the detail. That's why I like to show you guys beforehand all the sprues and everything, so you can actually see it on the camera and see what these sprues look like, because I spray paint everything black and then it's going to be really hard to see any of the detail. The camera just doesn't pick it up. I know some of these sprues have engine parts on them, so I'm going to leave them out because it's a car build, and almost every single car build starts off with building the engine first. Right? Just about every single one. Kind of like just about every single airplane build starts with a cockpit. That's just kind of, that's the way they design them. They have you build that stuff first. So, the instructions in this is actually surprisingly a thick book. Considering the amount of parts, there's not, you know, we've got 11 pages in this thing. I'll show you a preview here at the back. This is our chip Foose version. They even show it Foose, painting this thing black and then putting the decals on and everything. And then they have the race version on the very last page, painting it with the stripes. They got test car on the thing and the big snorkel sticking out of the hood and everything. You can see the they call them slapper bars sometimes on the back. Yeah, basically the slapper bars. If you guys don't know, back in the 60s and 70s, a lot of cars had these with the leaf spring suspension. As your tires would spin, they'd actually hop. It's called wheel hop. And what these things would do is when the suspension torques, these things would be forced up against the leaf and prevent the wheel hop. And so, yeah. Anyway, that's just a little lesson from back then. So let's open this up. One thing that is nice, this is now the second Foose model that I'm building, and it's also the second time I've noticed that Revell actually lists the part name for every single part that you're putting in here. Number 1's a body, 2 is the shock hood, 3 is the stock hood, 3 is a racing hood, 4 is the rear body panel, 4 intake duct, distributor, hood tack, just radiator wall, fan shroud, battery, left engine half, right engine half, front cover, alternator, fan belt, carburetor, blower body, air cleaner, everything, cylinder head, blower scoop, roll bar, grill insert. 2 pages worth of parts. That's pretty cool. You don't get to see that on a lot of stuff. A lot of times you're assembling something, you don't even know what it is or what the function is. That is a cool little thing about this instruction book. I like that. I like that a lot. That is cool. Okay. And as predicted, step number 1, put the 2 engine halves together. So, let's grab these. Okay. We'll start with this. I'm going to assemble the engine just simply because you guys need to know how to put this together. And that's the whole point of this, is showing you guys how. Even though I'm not actually going to be using this engine. Okay. So, I'll change the camera here. We can take a look. Okay. So you can watch me do this. Alright, so 2 engine halves. I've gone through this because everything was white. I took a felt marker and I marked all the numbers just so it's a lot easier for me to see them. You know, my eyes are getting old, and yeah. 2 engine halves go together like this. Yeah, it's Revell, so we've got lots of flashing. I'm going to change my glasses here. Oh, I forgot to show you guys, we have the body. There's the body. Nice enough, they've really limited the parting lines on it. There's just one little parting line right here that I'm going to have to clean up. Right there, that's it. It's the only parting line on this body. There and on this side. Just right there. Normally you might have like a line that goes all the way down, like across here or something like that. Not on this one. One little parting line here. It doesn't even go down the fender or quarter panel. Just one little seam there that I'm going to have to sand down and get that smooth. And that's it. They did a really good job on that. Okay. Anyway, that's the body. So, we got to clean up the flashing on this. Because these two pieces don't want to go together. So, we're going to clean this up. It is a Revell kit after all. And Revell has a tendency to not be as crisp and clean as well, let's just say another brand out there that starts with a T and ends with IA. The reason I say it like that is because the YouTube algorithm does not like to pick up that name for some reason whenever I say it. In the closed captionings I put on my videos, it never picks up that name properly. Yeah, see, we got flashing going all the way across here. Look at that. Okay, these should go together now. Yeah, I don't like that. Let's make these pins so big. I'd rather just do this and get rid of them. Just do that. And just line it up myself. Okay, I would rather do that. Sometimes, you know, yeah, the pins, they try to be helpful, they try to help you out. But I find the guide pins that they put, usually, yeah, it works at one end of the engine and then it screws you up at the other end. I just accidentally broke that little pin off. I think that's probably a guide pin for actually mounting it to the chassis, but I don't need to worry about that. Okay. Alright, so there's our engine. This is actually a pretty big engine. It's maybe a 400 cubic inch. It's not bad. It's better than I thought it would be. I suppose. Now I want to put a little clip on the back here. I'll just use one of my little alligator ones because they're not too strong. Making sure it's all lined up nice and straight. It's just something you don't get to do when you keep the pins in there. Alright, so there's that. Now, let's go with our cylinder heads. Number 33. We've got decals they want us to put on there, but of course we're not ready for that. We've got to paint this thing first, right? So number 33, let's find our cylinder heads here. Not on that one. Here we are. 33R and 33L, that's kind of neat. They only show 33 here in the instructions, but on the sprue they've got an L and an R. Which, not really necessary, but I appreciate the effort. I might as well take the front cover off. We're going to need that in the next step. Okay. Now this is if we're doing the Foose version. See, they got here, Foose version right here, and then the race version, question mark. Which one do you want to do? That's going to determine which intake you put on there, and apparently which fan belt you use. Looks like we're going to be using the same alternator either way. And this number 28, I don't know what this is. Oh, that's the exhaust manifold. Ah, so see, we've got a cast iron exhaust manifold, or we've got headers. Okay, headers are usually always made out of steel. and then these guys are made out of cast iron. The flow is not nearly as good on a cast iron head exhaust manifold as it is in exhaust headers. So anyway, it would be better just to put these in. Why would they do this on the Foose version? Like, if Foose used these, I would really criticize him on that. You know, actually looking up, I did Google this car trying to find actual real life pictures of this car, and I guess he did it for his show over Holland. He built this car for some guy, and from what I found online, I couldn't really find much. They barely even show the interior. It's just a little bit. They don't go over the engine, and the engine that you put in it is totally different than this, which is of course typical for Revell, in that they're not going to do too much. Our heads actually are lefts and rights. They don't fit. This one won't fit on this side. It doesn't go. It won't go, which is interesting. Yeah, really. It goes on this side, so they are definite left and right oriented. Just getting rid of my little nub off of this edge here. And this one. Okay. Let's see, this one goes here. So it won't go here. Okay. Glue along there. And there he's in. A lot of engines that I've built over the years, you get a little bit of slop, a little bit of play on the heads, and you got to kind of put the intake on there to take up any gap. But these seem to fit pretty solid and don't move around. So there we go. There's our engine. I'm going to put our front cover on now before putting the intake on. Front cover / water pump. And that's going to go in right there with our little tap going into that hole, supposedly. There we go. Yeah, it fits good. Not bad at all. Just clean up this little nub here so it doesn't interfere with our oil pan later on. So there's our front cover and water pump. You could say that's a timing cover and water pump. Okay, intake manifold. We have our two options. I want to build the blower and see what it looks like. Okay, so blower is all these chrome parts. I'm not impressed with our carburetors. That's one thing I'm not impressed with. There's that. There's the back end of the blower, the main blower body, and of course the front. Okay, we have a distributor also. That's number 6, which is not on the chrome tree. They always put a little asterisk beside the part that's chrome, right? Okay, so we have our blower here. Just because an engine, you know, in a car like this, an engine without a blower is a boring engine. So they got like a little notch here and a hole for you to line it up, but there's no notch and a hole in the actual blower body. So the way to figure out which is the front is just by the way the insert is laid out. So it looks like this might be, yeah, really. This doesn't seem to fit on that side. But it doesn't fit on this side either. Isn't that fun? They don't even mold it properly. How about we look at this side? This definitely fits on the back there. On that side. This, well, it fits on both sides actually. So it's just a matter of figuring out which side this is actually supposed to go on. Because it doesn't fit there. And these ones are definitely too wide. I think it's supposed to go on this side, but they've molded it so that it doesn't really work. So I'm gonna do some carving on the bottom here. And just take that bottom lip off. And maybe it'll fit. Let's see. No, it's still too wide. So I'm going to get rid of these. Get that flush. This. If you're building the blower version, you'll probably have to do the same thing. And now I've got the freedom, with those gone, I've got the freedom to move this wherever I want on here. So I'll just line it up as best as I can, kind of do that, and boom, that's how it's going to sit. Okay. So we're going to glue the parts together, so we have to get rid of the chrome. You guys have seen me do this before. Chrome parts do not get glued together with the chrome on them. You have to scrape away the chrome and reveal the bare plastic underneath. Otherwise the glue will not take. Of course, if you're using some kind of glue like epoxy or something like that, that's a different story. But if you're using just regular modeling glue, then you have to get rid of the chrome, because the glue does not penetrate the chrome. See, the whole thing that the glue, you might be wondering, why does the glue actually even work? What makes the glue work is it softens a plastic and kind of does a bit of a plastic weld. It eats the plastic a little bit, and then as it dries, the plastic stays together. Okay, so I removed the chrome around our little piece there. You can see that when I catch it in the right light. Okay, and I got to do the same on the inside of this. I'm going to scrape away on the inside of this like that. Where it's going to be meeting that part. Just like that. And I want to get this edge also. There we go. Get in there. I know a lot of guys, they just totally remove the kit chrome, remove the chrome. I don't know why. You know, you don't have to go to the lengths of removing all the chrome off of a kit, off of the parts. At least not in my opinion. Some guys just think, I see it actually a lot in YouTubers and professional model builders. They remove the chrome, they think it looks too toy, it looks too much like a toy. But I don't know. To me, it's chrome, and chrome is shiny. Chrome is like a mirror, especially on a car that's like, if you're building it like a show car, show quality. Yeah, the chrome is really shiny on a show car. Okay, so we've got the back part on. Okay, now I'm going to deal with the front part. So the front part obviously is going to sit up here like this, which means most of the chrome on the front of this needs to come off. Okay, so I'm going to start scraping like this. I'm not going to take 100% of it off, but enough that I'm going to get glue in there, and it's going to make good contact, and yeah. Okay, so we've got the glue, the chrome off the front of that. Now let's attack the chrome on this side, like this, just like that. Okay, and put some glue on there, and bing. Just kind of get it lined up. Make sure it's straight. There we go. Okay. Again, I don't like this part. I don't like these big stacks. That just looks ridiculous. It's not realistic. Okay. Now, I'm going to give this a minute or 5 to actually glue and get set up before I start scraping the chrome off of that, because I got to scrape the chrome off the bottom of this, and I got to scrape it off of our intake manifold. Now remember, we've got 2 different holes. You got to just figure out which side is which. It looks like this side with the little nub sticking up, this is just a flat hole. That's going to be for the distributor. This is going to be for a radiator hose. So this is the front. So this is going to go on the engine like this. They actually have little nubs that are half circles, so that'll help you line this up too. Although it doesn't really want to go in the holes. So again, if you want this thing to actually stick on there, you're going to have to scrape the chrome off of every place that you're going to put glue. Otherwise the glue won't work. So scrape it off that edge there. I'm going to scrape this off. Total clean up the bottom there, clean all that chrome off of there, and we'll clean up the edge of this, the other edge of this half circle. Do the same on this one. Okay, and we'll do the front here. Okay, there we go. Now I could scrape away this edge too. It's not going to really make any difference. So with that scraped away, it fits in the holes a little bit better. But I'm not, I hate the fact like it doesn't quite line up here, right in there. I've got a gap. I can stick my knife down in there. All right, it just won't go. And that's just the alignment thing, and that's the way. Sometimes that's the way they just mold these things. And of course the intake is sticking out way past the front of the head here, right? It's not quite lining up. Same with this, it sticks out past the front of the head. I could shave that down. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Let's shave that down. Right there. That's better. It's a little more realistic. More like it's supposed to be on there. Like I got a good millimeter here where the intake is sticking out further forward than the cylinder head, and it just doesn't look right. Okay, that looks a lot better. Okay, let's pull this off of here for now and just kind of clean up my carving. Okay, so let's do a little test fit here. Now that we know which way is front, it sits on like that. I'm not getting a heck of a lot of contact on the side here, so I'm going to keep that chrome on this side. What it's doing is it's going down inside the big hole. So that means I need to clear the chrome from the inside of the hole like this. This is where the glue is going to make contact, is on the inside. So we'll just make sure that the chrome is missing, gone. And of course, if you're going to build it the other way, then you don't have to worry about this at all. Right? If you're doing the other intake and you're not putting the blower on, you don't have to do any of this chrome scraping because none of those parts are chrome. And okay, now again, we got to do the edge here. The edge of this guy. Our little lip. Take this time, guys, to mention when I hit 1,000 subscribers, you get to see my fiance and I were building Porsches together. So hit that subscribe button. So not quite there yet, we're close. So the sooner we hit 1,000, the sooner that video series comes out. Okay, so we've got that done. Now I could scrape this whole top here, it doesn't matter. It's just going to do the edge where it's actually touching in there. Okay, there we go. So there's our top of the intake. You can see that there. Okay, where I scraped away the chrome on there. And then also on the inside lip right in here. Okay, that's where it's going to make contact and that's where it's going to sit. It's like that. Okay, so with that, slather some glue on the inside and put her together. There's not a lot of contact being made, but that's the way it is. Give it a minute, it should hold, and it's holding. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now that's the basic assembly of the engine. So let's talk about this guy here. This guy is a 572 cubic inch Chevrolet engine. That is a resin piece that I got off of eBay. You can buy all kinds of different engines on eBay. 124 scale, 125th. Basically, just about any engine you can dream of, you can find it. I find big block Ford engines, big block Chevy engines, small block Ford, small block Chevys, Pontiacs, inline sixes, all kinds of different engines. As you can see, the physical dimensions are pretty close. Well, not quite. Our 572 is a little bit taller, but that doesn't really make much difference. But this is the one I'm going to put in the car, in spite of the fact that this one's got a nice blower on it too. This is only 400 cubic inch, this is 572, so yeah, they are pretty close actually as far as their height goes. If I match up the oil pans, yeah, the height is pretty close. not bad at all. But the detail on my 572 is much nicer. And I actually got real carburetors. Check these out. Check out that little carburetor. That little carburetor on there. That is an actual like 4-barrel Holley Dominator carb, right? Got my valve covers. I haven't put them on yet. They sit there like this. Okay, that's upside down, so this will go like that. Okay, and I also have it comes with the decals to put on the valve covers, and it even comes with extra little things like this is the fan belt. It's a nice, highly detailed fan belt, right? Because it's 3D, it's resin, so it really goes good. Here's our exhaust manifolds, or our headers. I'm not sure how these would line up if I was to put these on here. Obviously not, because it's got the typical Chevy 1, 1, 2, and 1 like that, instead of 4 evenly spaced, right? That's definitely an old design. So these would go on right there like this, just like that. It's got the holes for the spark plug wires. In fact, it actually had spark plugs molded in there, in those holes, which I had to remove because in order to put our spark plug wires in, I had to remove the spark plugs. But anyway, it sits like that. That's the way the exhaust would go on. I'm not sure if these are going to line up in the kit. I might use the kit parts. I've got the extra little breather cap that goes in the valve cover, and of course I've got the oil filter, which will go in like right here. Oil filter goes down there on this engine, like that. Okay. Yeah, the one thing I don't have is the starter, which I might be using the starter off of the kit, although I don't really see the starter in the kit here. I'm not seeing a starter. I see the provision for the starter, and then, oh, the starter is molded in with the oil pan. Here's our oil pan. That's an interesting little detail. Here's our oil pan, which goes like this. So assuming I could get this down on there. On this engine, there's our oil filter on this side, right there. And then our starter is right here. So I think what I'll do is I'll clip the starter off and put it in on this side. It's really strange. It doesn't look like there's a provision for a starter on this bell housing. There's no starter molded in on here. Anyway, then we have our distributor that goes in the back. I didn't get a distributor in with my engine, so I grabbed, I have this guy here, Scale Productions V8 distributor with ignition wire, which I've already wired up. This guy right here. Okay. Got that already wired up, ready to go in. And it'll go in on the back here. Just kind of like that. Okay. So I've got that. And so once I put the carburetors on, I'll have my nice little scoop to go on top also. Okay, obviously a different shape than what they had planned with this, but it'll still work. This will go on here like this, fit just like that. Okay, and then we'll have our fan belt, but I don't have a belt for the water pump, so I'm thinking I'm going to maybe incorporate one of the kit fan belts into this to actually get the accessories on this engine. But that's something I'll have to figure out. Maybe I'll have to wind up moving this out further in order to do that, which means I might have to do a different shaft on the front of the blower to get this to sit out farther. Or I'll have that fan belt sticking out further than the actual blower belt. The way they have it is the blower belt is supposed to go out in front. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm obviously not there yet. I still need to paint the engine. and get that done. So yeah, lots of little detail things to do still. I do have my Pro Scale General Motors Engine Orange, authentic Chevy orange, to put on this. I haven't even opened it yet. So let's get the plastic off of this. Let's open up this jar and see what she looks like. Shake this up a little bit. There we go. Chevy engine orange. I'm going to put one of my little ball bearings in there. So when it comes to actually painting, I'll actually have all the pigment mixed up. As you guys know from before, watching me paint my other Foose truck, yeah, see, there's a lot of pigment at the bottom of this. These paints just spray directly out of the bottle, no problem. Okay, so yeah, that's that. So that's the engine I'm putting in this. I'm not using the kit engine, but this is how it would go. But what I'm going to do, I think it's be authentic to actually have a starter. It's weird that I don't have a starter provision. It's like they have it molded in the engine block right here. There's kind of a little bit of a circle here, but nothing on the actual bell housing. The bell housing doesn't stick out. So I think what I might do is actually carve away this little thing on the block, and so that I can get the starter in tight. Let's get the starter off of this. Off of our oil pan. There. We'll clean this up. Garbage. So here's our starter. As nice as it looks, it's not really the best starter in the world, but it's what we got. So that's what we're going to use. Okay. Fix up this edge. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is it'll go right here. It'll go there. Kind of like that. But it's got to go like right here. It's got to go in right there, but it's got to fit flush. It should flush against that block. Kind of like that. Typically I've seen starters, mostly they're right down here by the oil pan like this, right? But this one seems to be up a little higher, like that. Just like that. But in order for it to do that, I got to get rid of this little lip right here. This is going to have to be shaved down. That's kind of the nice thing about resin pieces. Resin is easy to carve in that it breaks, kind of. I can get that flush in there like that. That will be nice. Just like this. Yeah, okay. That's where my starter's going to sit. It won't sit there on its own. I'm going to have to glue it. But you guys get the idea. It's going to sit right there. It's going to be right there. kind of like that. Just like that. Okay. So what I need to do, I want to get rid of this little lip here. So I can go right against the bell housing with it. Just slowly carve away at that little lip. So my starter can fit flush against the bell housing, just like that. And that's how she's going to sit. Oops. Yeah. Okay, you get the idea. Now the oil pan on this is kind of funky in that it doesn't really fit flush. Now it sort of fits flush against there, but not quite. It's obviously a lot of work to do to get this to fit flush on there. There's a gap here. Right, there's a gap under there. I'd have to clean that up on the inside. And I actually like the detail on the oil filter on this one better than the one that came with the kit. This one actually has those little indents on the edge of the oil filter that every oil filter has. The one in the kit doesn't. It's just kind of a little cylinder. So I think I'm actually going to use this instead of that one. The oil filter on this one is, for that, it just is that. So I'm going to scrape off the chrome on the edge of this. And then I can put this right there. And there's our oil filter. Yeah. Oil filter right there. Just like that. That's where the oil filter goes. And that'll look better. That'll look more like an oil filter. I like that. So you go in the little case. Okay. So, and keep my starter. That goes in there. Put this on there. I think what I'll do is I'll just keep my blower so that I've got a spare blower somewhere. At some point I can use whenever I feel like it. And yeah, that's basically it. If you were building the kit engine and you're putting the blower on, that's what it's going to look like. Okay. Meantime, in the meantime, the next step would be to start working on our exhaust and all that stuff, but I need to prime this puppy, okay? I need to prime this bird. And that's what I'm going to spend the next little time doing. I won't bother showing you guys on camera. Basically I'll be using up the last of what I've got in my can of Mr. Surfacer, and then utilizing my stuff there. I'll mix this with the Mr. Leveling thinner so it goes on nice and smooth, just like it does out of the can. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. So yeah, do me that favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe down below. You can check out the links in the description box below. You can see links to my Twitch and stuff like that, to my Instagram also. Whenever I finish a build, I always upload a bunch of pictures of it to my Instagram, so you can check those out too and see the stuff I've built in the past. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for all the new subscribers. That's awesome. Thank you for the support, guys. And we'll see you all in the next one.